In May, floodwaters from Angola pour into the driest land in Botswana. The water reaches the Okavango and stops. The delta holds it here to feed a promised land. 15,000 square kilometers of wetland. A jewel hidden within the desert, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Africa's top predators share a single land. Nowhere else holds them this densely. But for now, the water has not yet come. This is the peak of the dry season. Only a few waterholes remain to decide who survives and who moves on. These apex predators have gone unchallenged for seasons. Warthog here have few choices. The Pride will hunt every prey within sight. A warthog sounder usually numbers 4 to 10. Mothers band into larger groups to protect their young before splitting apart. Once a warthog is over a year old, it feeds itself, yet still depends entirely on the mother's protection against the larger predators. A spotted hyena's jaws can crush even large bones. Whatever the lions leave behind goes to waste, not at all. It isn't only warhog that depend on this very waterhole. Impala come too, but always in large groups and at unpredictable hours, a wholly different way of dodging the ambush. The same water, and each species pays a different price to stay alive. That rain does not fall here. It needs weeks to seep its way south. Each termite mound here has stood for centuries, long enough for sand to build into soil. An island takes shape from the work of the smallest insect. The density of predators here is among Africa's highest, and so each species must choose its own way to hunt. The leopard chooses ambush over the chase, slower but sure. A wild dog litter can top a dozen pups at once, enough to drain the mother to exhaustion. But she must endure, for when the rains come, prey will be plentiful, and the pups will wean. The water is coming quietly. Only the most sensitive can feel it yet. For the lekwe, or the elephant, water was never a barrier. Long legs built for the marsh, great bodies that do not fear the flood. Only the top of the food chain are about to relearn that lesson. A few of the pride try their luck with a buffalo mother and her calf. That defeat no one will forget. The wet season is the best season for new life, and the young will draw every ounce of nourishment from it now. Even a fan palm seizes the moment. It owes a debt to the elephant. Its seed only sprouts after passing through an elephant's gut. Everything in the Okavango is bound to everything else. Of the dry season is about to vanish. The old borders are about to be washed away. Who will master the new rules? The water arrives just as it does every year. At the height of the flood, the old line between land and water all but disappears. A parched land changes its shape in just a few weeks. The hippo carves its own path, night after night, until that trail becomes a permanent channel, a road of its own. A hippo's skin cannot bear direct sun for long, which is why it clings to water more tightly than any other grazer here. The lionesses apply the very tactic that won them the dry season: ambush and wait for the moment. That tactic had never failed on dry ground. But this no longer seems to be their territory. The hippo escaped before the strike could land. Deep water is the one place that tactic is useless. For the first time, it is the water, not the pride, that sets the rules. The borders of territory are no longer drawn by the pride. The water decides them now. And for the cubs growing up in the pride, to lose ground is to lose their hiding place too. In the very water that just saved it, the hippo still lets another creature close. The one that just slipped a hunt must still share its own body in another exchange. Failure does not erase instinct, it forces it to adapt. These swamp lions are one of the few lion populations on Earth that regularly swim deep water. Cape buffalo bring down more lions than any other animal on the continent. They were outmatched in the dry season, but the swamp is the Black Army's strength. A herd nearly 1,000 strong is closing on the islands. If they cannot bring down a single grown buffalo, then does victory still belong to the lion? Last season's lesson still stands. Provoke one, and you fight the whole herd. This time, the pride chooses to strike differently. An ambush from above, where the buffalo never expected. A single buffalo's distress call is enough to bring the whole herd back, no matter how far away. A counterattack, fast enough, drives the pride up high. But this hunting ground still stands, and the pride will not abandon it. Alone, no lion can bring down a grown buffalo. That is why many prides keep more than one male, even if the food must be split thinner. Together, the two males do what the whole pride could not do alone. Not out of fear of the elephants. Today's throne is not worth paying for in blood once more. The elephants stand there a long while, then move on, leaving the prize to the one that just won it. All through the standoff, the cattle egrets stay with the buffalo, waiting on the insects their hooves stir up. The jackal hangs at the edge, taking no part in the fight, waiting only on the winner's scraps. With each precise peck, another tick is plucked away. The birds work at breakneck speed. Beneath the surface, the school of fish never stops. They constantly shift positions, inspecting every patch of skin, every wrinkle, and every remaining layer of soft mud. Above the water, the birds clean up the areas that the fish cannot reach. Two entirely different species are working hand in hand to clean the buffalo. In just a short time, the tick population has dropped significantly. The buffalo no longer shakes his head continuously. His ears stop twitching. He stands quietly in the river, barely responding to the flies anymore. For the fish, this is a nutritious feast. But these oxpeckers are just a small piece of the puzzle in the grand tapestry of survival, known as the African savanna. No battlefield here holds only two sides. Even in victory, today's power is never absolute. The rules have changed. The water recedes. The Okavango enters a new order, still a part of the Kalahari, where the rains from Angola return each year at the driest hour. The species that fell at the opening waterhole still multiplies, reclaiming old hyena burrows to raise its young, in some seasons doubling its number. The prey does not disappear, it simply survives in its own way. Next season, the waterhole will fill and run dry again. The tactic that wins this year may lose the next. This is no changeless empire. Each time the water rises, every species in the Okavango enters its own battle for survival. Not only the lions. This is the savage kingdom, where even the apex predators must relearn the lesson of survival every season. The next time the waters turn, will the one who holds the throne today still be standing? Where the river meets the muddy banks, submerged root systems, and shadow beneath the Amazon canopy, lies nature's most intense frontier of survival. Here, three of the planet's ultimate predators share the exact same territory. Each commands formidable power, capable of bringing down any living creature, and none are willing to back down. The first has endured since before the dinosaurs vanished into history. The black caiman, the largest crocodilian reptile in the Amazon basin. An adult can reach a length of 5 meters and weigh hundreds of pounds. Wearing pitch-black hides, they blend seamlessly into murky waters darkened by decaying leaves. This perfect camouflage turns them into true phantoms, lying quietly in wait to strike without a single warning. The black caiman's eyes pierce through the dark, thanks to a layer called tapetum lucidum, which reflects the faintest glimmers of light to turn night into day. It can remain motionless for hours, exposing only its eyes and nostrils above the surface. After enjoying a meal, an extremely slow metabolic rate, honed over millions of years of evolution, lets it fast for weeks or even months. During the 20th century, the hide trade pushed the black caiman to the brink. listing this species under Appendix 1 of the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, the highest level of protection, became a vital lifeline, helping their numbers bounce back to tens of thousands across protected reserves. Though it has survived 65 million years of turmoil and multiple ice ages, the future of this ancient reptile is still hanging in the balance. Right beneath root clusters submerged in shadow rests the green anaconda. The heaviest snake on Earth, reaching up to 6 meters in length, with a body as wide as a tree trunk. Positioned high on its head, its eyes and nostrils allow the green anaconda to stay nearly fully submerged, to silently await its target. As the target draws near, it lunges forward with a firm grip and instantly wraps around its subject with coils of powerful muscle. Contrary to popular belief that prey succumbs to suffocation, modern research by Dr. Scott Bobak has shown that the anaconda's squeeze triggers circulatory arrest. Staggering pressure causes blood pressure to skyrocket, the heart to stop beating, and vital organs to collapse in the blink of an eye. It is a relentless finishing mechanism, far quieter and more efficient than any venom. Once the target has succumbed, the green anaconda unhinges its lower jaw to swallow catches larger than itself. This process can stretch for hours, reshaping its body entirely around the prize. One substantial meal provides enough energy for weeks or even months as it rests among the mud. Though slow on land, the green anaconda is in a league of its own. Whenever the riverbed becomes its arena, the only creature capable of hunting both the black caiman and the green anaconda is the jaguar, the uncrowned king of the Amazon. The jaguar possesses staggering bite force, from 1,000 to 1,500 pounds per square inch. head and shoulders above the rest of the big cat family relative to body size. Rather than aiming for the neck or belly, the jaguar claims its target by piercing straight through the skull, into the brain, a strategy that is truly one of a kind. The jaguar's prowess also lies in its complete adaptability. They excel at swimming, boast sharp tapetum lucidum night vision, and wear a spotted coat offering perfect camouflage beneath sunlight filtering through the canopy. Soft paw pads allow the jaguar to move silently in the dark, leaving its target aware of its presence, only when time has already run out. The jaguar is the only big cat on Earth that actively seeks out armored reptiles right in their aquatic domain. Leaping from the riverbank, it secures a firm grip and pierces the caiman's skull from behind in mere seconds before its opponent can even turn around. From waterlogged grounds to high treetops, no corner of the jungle is out of reach for a jaguar at the top of its game. The Amazon rainforest serves as home to 89% of the global jaguar population. Where abundant food allows them to reach impressive weights, exceeding 100 kilograms. As a vital keystone species maintaining balance across the entire ecosystem, the jaguar currently faces pressure from forest clearing and shrinking habitats, leading the International Union for Conservation of Nature to place them in the near-threatened category.
The dry season shrinks the grassland. Every animal is forced toward the same water point. The gap between predator and prey closes. That is the hunter's advantage. The wet season opens migration corridors, thousands of kilometers long. No solitary predator can stop prey on the move. A coordinated lion pride can bring down prey twice their own weight. The cheetah's speed is the fastest in the world, but it holds only for the first 3 seconds. The hyena's endurance is enough to wait until others give up, but every animal carries its own weapon. Every animal carries its own weakness. The first lesson is beginning. Dawn is the most favorable hour for a lion pride. Cool enough to sustain effort through the chase. Light enough to read the terrain. A 7-year-old lioness weighing approximately 145 kilograms. On Thata's shoulders rests the heaviest responsibility. Any hunter on the savannah can carry, teaching her cubs how to survive. 45 days after birth, lion cubs begin to observe. Observation is the only way to survive to adulthood. In a pride, there is no organized classroom. Knowledge is earned by watching and by going out alone, making mistakes under the supervision of those who know. Adult lionesses don't rescue their cubs every time they fail. They let the cubs learn the hard way. Lion's weapon is not size. It is what happens when multiple animals move toward one point together. Each one cuts off an escape route. A lion pride divides labor by clear roles. Lionesses hunt. They surround from multiple directions, cutting off escape routes. The male lions guard the territory and ensure the cubs are not threatened. Even with the pack's best coordination, 3 out of 4 hunts end empty-handed. Coordination is no miracle. It simply improves the odds enough for the pack to survive. This is the pressure the lion cubs are learning to endure day by day. Today the cubs select a target, an old wildebeest standing apart from the herd. The wildebeest's running speed reaches 80 kilometers per hour in a straight line, but this one stands alone, far from the herd. A separated prey animal is a behavioral signal the cubs have been absorbing for months of observation. The 3-direction formation requires no coordination signal. Each cub moves independently, driven by reflex. The goal is not to approach the prey fastest. The goal is to close each escape route one by one. Until prey has nowhere left to run safely. A paradox of the encirclement. The lone runner has a higher probability of being taken down than the one who stands and fights. This is the moment when prey switches roles. When every escape route is blocked. 250 kilograms, horns 70 centimeters long, shifting posture from prey to threat. The horns trace out a danger zone nearly 1.5 meters wide, at exactly the height of a lion cub's torso. No lion cub can absorb a direct blow from a wildebeest's horns. This is the limit of the young. Skills are forged through dozens of hunts. lessons the cubs haven't experienced enough to learn. When the target stands its ground, they must approach from the blind spot, not from the front. Prey fights. That is the first lesson. Wildebeest is not the only species that writes its own rules on the savannah, and not every rule is easy to read. The savannah has no absolute champion. Even the apex predator loses. Not to something stronger, to something more patient. On the savannah, there exists a phenomenon so common, it has its own name: kleptoparasitism. The act of stealing food from another hunter. Cheetahs are the fastest land animals. A cheetah's spine is as flexible as a coiled spring, stretching each stride up to 7 meters. Semi-retractable claws grip the ground like cleats, allowing for instant turns without losing speed. The first 3 seconds of every chase marks the moment its prowess is displayed in absolute perfection. No creature on the savannah can hold a candle to the cheetah during that window. But after 300 to 500 meters, the cheetah's body temperature spikes into the danger zone for its nervous system. The body needs 20 to 30 minutes to return to a safe temperature before eating is possible. That is 20 to 30 minutes the savannah knows exactly how to exploit. A hyena clan with enough members doesn't need to challenge directly. They approach the exhausted cheetah. A 50-kilogram cheetah cannot hold a kill against a clan of 10 to 15 animals. The energy cost of a chase with the meal stolen before the first bite is a pure loss that cannot be recovered. In nearly half the hunts where cheetah makes a kill, the meal is taken before they can eat the first bite. The most perfect speed machine on Earth is defeated, not by speed, but by another's patience. The weakness is not speed. The weakness is temperature. After 500 meters. Even so, spotted hyena is not a creature that waits for others' meals. This is a widespread misconception. 60 to 95% of a spotted hyena's food comes from what it hunts itself. The number shifts by region, but in many areas, hyena hunts more than lion. Spotted hyena society is matriarchal. Females dominate. Males, as a rule, are smaller and rank below every female in the clan. The alpha's daughter ranks immediately below the alpha, above every male regardless of size or age. It is not physical strength that determines rank. It is a social hierarchy, maintained across generations. With all these inversions, spotted hyena is among the most distinctive predators remaining on the continent. They crush bone completely, not dissolve it, crush it into fragments. Then a digestive system running on high acid levels does the rest. Nothing from a carcass is wasted. Hyena is the most efficient bone-to-nutrient processor in the ecosystem. They are equipped to exploit what others leave behind. When a hyena clan has enough numbers, Even lion cannot hold a kill. That is the moment the kleptoparasitism chain reverses. Energy moves backward up the food chain. The one who did not hunt takes the reward of the one who did. No one is completely safe. Not even the strongest. Not even the apex predator. If cheetah is the pinnacle of speed, and hyena is the pinnacle of jaw power, then African wild dog is the pinnacle of pack coordination. 3 out of 4 hunts, lion comes back empty. Wild dog is different. More than 6 in 10 hunts end with a meal. Not because they are stronger, because they are never exhausted at the same time. Their weapon is not speed. Wild dog is not the fastest. Their weapon is stamina and constant communication. Wild dog uses a complex vocalization system to maintain contact throughout the pursuit. When the dog at the front tires, another takes over. Relay hunting. Prey cannot outlast a wild dog pack. But wild dog also has a weakness. A pack typically numbers only 5 to 20 individuals. Losing a few means losing relay capacity. The perfect coordination machine only works when there are enough runners. The perfect coordination machine, yet more fragile than it appears. Cape Buffalo is the boundary that every lion pride must learn to respect before deciding to advance. The largest bull reaches 700 kilograms. The fused hornboss spreads wide from the center of the forehead, flaring to both sides. No solitary predator dares challenge a healthy adult buffalo inside the herd. This is not a single animal's hunt. This is a campaign requiring the entire pride, precise timing, and no small amount of luck. Even with a full-strength pride, a buffalo hunt can bring heavy casualties. The most dangerous animal on the savannah is not always the predator. Every encounter has no fixed script. The buffalo herd to the east today is a calculation, not an opportunity. Buffalo is the only species on the savannah where, when a lion pride approaches, the collective reflex is not to flee. That reflex has been eliminated from the species' genome through centuries of evolution. Each weighing 500 to 700 kilograms, boss horns spreading 1.5 meters wide. no single attack can break. Inside that formation is a detail Thata is searching for. Every buffalo herd keeps its calves at the center. Every calf is potential prey, but only potential while it stands inside the formation. Today's herd is dense enough that the cost of an attack exceeds any possible reward. On the savannah, fighting at the right moment matters more than fighting the right enemy. And when 1.5 million wildebeest begin moving toward the Mara River, a far larger story is waiting. Once a year, the savannah performs the largest spectacle remaining on Earth. 1.5 million wildebeest, 500,000 zebra, 2 million animals in total, moving in the same direction. Not because anyone gave an order. Not because there is a central plan. Because grass grows. Because rain comes. Because predator pressure at the old grounds pushes the herd forward. The Great Migration, the largest overland migration still existing on this planet. A journey of approximately 800 kilometers in a loop each year. From Serengeti north to Masai Mara, then back when the rains shift. Around 10% of the herd dies along the route each year. That is 150,000 to 200,000 animals. The distance is vast and the savannah is unforgiving. But the remaining 90% complete the journey. Why do these animals accept that risk every year instead of staying put? Because the ground they leave at the end of the dry season has grazed down to nothing. Migration means a very high probability of starvation. Migration carries risk, but that same risk brings the chance of survival. The wisest choice, sometimes, looks like the most reckless decision. The Mara River stands across that route. Banks dropping 4 to 5 meters straight down. Brown, churning water in the wet season. Nile crocodile adults reach 5 meters in length, 500 kilograms in weight. Their bite force is the strongest measured in any living animal. 8 times more powerful than a lion's. The croc's death roll, spinning continuously after clamping onto prey, is designed to separate joints as rapidly as possible. 1,350,000 animals step out of the water and continue moving. Wildebeest's hidden weapon is not its horns or its speed. That weapon is numbers. Share the risk until nothing can stop the whole. This is not idealism. This is mathematics. Individual strength, collective strength. But there is a third kind of weapon on the savannah, not speed, not numbers, the weapon of family. Every hunt carries a cost. Warthog is not easy prey. "40 kilometers per hour. Tusks on both sides. Reaction time under 0.3 of a second. The young pride learns that not from a lecture, from experience. A particular respect for what a warthog can do with those tusks. This is the core principle of the savannah. Every prey animal carries a weapon. Those who underestimate that weapon do not die. They go hungry. The pride just learned the smallest lesson. The largest lesson is waiting ahead. When the lion pride appears, the buffalo herd does not trigger the flight reflex. Only one reflex remains. 100 individuals, each 500 to 700 kilograms, each with a boss horn spreading 1.5 meters wide. 5 million years of evolution built this structure for one purpose alone: to make every attack prohibitively costly. When the buffalo herd is dense enough, there is no safe entry point. The lion pride needs no further proof of that. What stands before the lion pride today is not prey in the conventional sense. These are bodies of 500 to 700 kilograms, with a boss horn designed to attack, not to defend. A single lion facing a mature buffalo. Is death approaching from a different direction? 9 lions, a buffalo herd of 100. That ratio supports no attack from any angle. Then the lion pride spots what the buffalo herd has not yet noticed. A buffalo calf under a year old, weighing far less than a mature animal. 30 meters. In a hunt, 30 meters is an entirely different world. This is what lion targets: prey separated from collective protection, not strong or weak, isolated. But the savannah has no fixed script. The mother notices, not from sound, not from scent, from the movement of the lion pride, from the gap closing between her calf and the herd. That behavioral signal is enough to activate a response, honed through millions of years of evolution. She becomes the only barrier between the lion pride and her calf. The mother fights alone, but the buffalo herd is not only the mother. The charge does not need to be precise. It shatters. A lion carrying that injury usually survives a few days. Before collapsing from internal damage, that lion will not last another week. Not because today's confrontation ends it immediately, but because buffalo family stood its ground, and that was enough. Evolution poses the same question in every confrontation between predator and prey. Is the cost of this hunt worth the reward? Warthog runs at 40 kilometers per hour. Tusks on both sides, a weapon few hunters want to absorb. The lion pride learns that not through theory, through failed hunts that cost energy with nothing to show. Wildebeest at 250 kilograms, standing to fight instead of fleeing. It takes the whole pride to handle it, and they can still lose. With buffalo family today, the answer is already written in the lion walking away with a wound that will not heal. Not every hunt is worth it. Certain tolls are only tallied afterward. Buffaloes lack the speed of the cheetah, no ambush tactics of the lion, no collective strength of 1.5 million wildebeests. During the Great Migration, buffalo has something else. A multi-layered defensive unit, an outcome the lion pride will not forget. From now on, every time this pride looks toward a buffalo herd, no one forgets today. 3 payoffs, 3 ways prey fights back. Wildebeest stands alone. 250 kilograms that will not turn and will not yield. Its weapon is decision. 1.5 million leap together. Mathematics defeats all 3 ambush positions. The weapon is collective. The weapon is family. Prey does not only fight back, sometimes prey wins. The hunt ends. But on the savannah, nothing truly ends. Every species returns to what it carries. Wildebeest does not need to be the strongest. It needs to not be the slowest among 1.5 million moving in the same direction. Community is the only weapon wildebeest needs here. A collective pressure system. Tested and proven across millions of years of migration. Lion also has community. 3 out of 4 times lion leaves with an empty stomach. Not just today. For millions of years. This is not individual failure. This is the operational reality of the apex predator. The male guards territory and cubs, maintaining conditions for the lionesses to hunt safely. Cubs are raised before they can fend for themselves. The lion community is not an equal collective, but it is a resource-sharing system that ensures the whole pride survives lean seasons. The lion community, in its own way, not equal, but sufficient for the entire pride to continue. Today's lesson does not need Thata to explain it to the cubs. The real cost has already done that. A pride member walks with a wound that will not heal. On the savannah, the wrong lesson often arrives first, before its full price is understood. Buffaloes are not the only species with a defensive formation, but buffaloes are the only ones on this savanna that can use that formation to turn the tables. An irreversible outcome. Cheetah is still running. After losing nearly half its meals to hyena, wild dog, and lion, cheetah still hunts. Because the first 3 seconds of every chase are absolute perfection. Nothing on the savannah matches a cheetah in those 3 seconds. Every animal on this savanna is carrying wounds in some form. Cheetah loses nearly half its meals to those more patient, yet continues to hunt. Wild dog keeps the pack thin enough to relay without breaking, yet maintains the highest hunt success rate on the savannah. Wildebeest leaves 150,000 animals along the route each year. Yet 1 1/3 million others continue the journey. And all of them are surviving. But today, one lion is carrying a wound, not from a failed hunt. From prey that did not run. Prey does not only fight back, sometimes prey wins. The survival war between carnivore and herbivore has existed longer than any species alive on this planet. Every species is evolution's answer to pressure from the other side, but the world of that war is changing. Not because lion grew weaker, not because wildebeest lost its horns, but because the space where that war is fought is shrinking. At the start of the 20th century, there were approximately 200,000 lion across Africa and into India. Today, 22,000 to 25,000 remain, 6% of the historic range. The rest is gone. Not because prey grew strong enough that lions could no longer hunt, but because of habitat loss, conflict with humans when lions take livestock, and collapsing wild prey populations from external pressure. IUCN lists lion as vulnerable. The war lion has not lost in millions of years now, has a new front. The Great Migration is not only a natural event, it depends on migration corridors. An unbroken stretch of land from start to finish. In their heyday, the Mara Loiter wildebeests numbered over 100,000. Since 2020, as fencing spread, their numbers have dropped below 25,000. That is a 75% decline in less than a decade. "90% of the Great Migration's historic corridor has been encroached on or severed. The war between carnivore and herbivore is a balance designed across tens of millions of years. When the environment changes, the balance does not hold. IUCN lists lechwe as vulnerable. Globally, approximately 158,000 lechwe remain. In 16 years, from 2006 to 2021, the population dropped by nearly a third. Kafue lechwe in Zambia is declining faster than that rate, the freshwater wetlands, where lechwe is the undisputed master, are being drained for agriculture. When lechwe's weapon is terrain, and that terrain is disappearing, the terms of lechwe's war change with it. The struggle for survival, unfolding every day on the savannah, is not the problem. The problem is when that struggle loses the conditions to take place. On this savannah, it is not the strongest that rules. It is not the fastest that survives, but the one who knows when to stand its ground, the one that fights for something larger than itself. That one sometimes cannot be defeated. The answer to the planet's oldest battle isn't about who is stronger. Sometimes the answer is that the prey doesn't just fight back. Sometimes the prey comes out on top. There are many battles like this happening right now, on the savannah, in the ocean, in the rainforest. Every species carries its own weapon. From the tropical forests of Central America to the wetlands of the Pantanal, a single predator dominates every habitat it enters. Jaguar, the American big cat with the strongest bite force relative to body size of any living cat, surpassing both lion and tiger. Its lower jaw does not tear flesh in the conventional way. It crushes, punching straight through the prey's skull. This is the only big cat that routinely includes reptiles as a primary part of its diet, and not small ones. The swamp assassin. In the Pantanal, the largest wetland on Earth, jaguar moves silently along riverbanks, waiting for prey that believes itself safe in the water. Then, in a single instant, one strike of absolute precision, the jaguar's jaws close and crush directly through the skull of a large black caiman. Along the coasts of Central America, jaguar has developed a hunting skill found nowhere else on Earth. Using the most powerful bite in the cat family, jaguar can punch through the shell of a sea turtle right at its nesting beach. But the story holds an unexpected paradox. The presence of this killer actually saves turtle lives in a different way. Jaguar drives away coati, a highly effective nest raider from the raccoon family, keeping them clear of the nesting beaches. Fewer coatis means more sea turtle nests survive. A predator is safeguarding the future generation of its very own prey and unintentionally shielding the creature it hunts. This indirect balance is something nature achieves far more effectively than any conservation plan humans have designed. Yet, only around 64,000 jaguar remain in the wild. IUCN lists them as near threatened, habitat loss, wildlife corridors disappearing, prey populations declining. Every jaguar that vanishes is one more broken link in the ecological chain, and the paradox deepens. Protecting jaguars also means protecting sea turtles. Two seemingly opposite creatures are actually two sides of the same coin, bound in an ecological dance that humans are only beginning to understand. The ocean covers 70% of the planet's surface, and inside those deep blue waters, migration follows rules no land animal has ever had to learn. Orca, the killer whale, is not actually a whale. It is the largest dolphin on Earth and perhaps the most strategically sophisticated predator alive. Each orca pod carries its own dialect, a sound system no other pod can decode. They pass hunting techniques down through generations, creating what scientists call culture, a concept once considered exclusive to humans. Off the coast of Antarctica, their hunting has astonished researchers with what is known as the wave wash technique. The target is a Weddell seal resting on a floating ice floe, convinced it is safe. The tactic: a pod of typically 4 to 6 orca lines up horizontally beneath the surface, hundreds of meters from the ice. The decisive action plays out in synchronized coordination as they surge forward at maximum speed. Not to hit the ice directly, but to generate a wave, a massive wall of water that crashes onto the floe, tilting it sharply. If the first attempt fails, they repeat. 3 times, 5 times, as many as it takes, until the seal slides off. This is not blind instinct. This is a calculated tactic. Young orca follow their mothers and aunts, observing hundreds of attempts before attempting it themselves. Using coordinated tactics and memorized migration routes to establish ambush positions. Orca is the only ocean predator capable of planning an ambush weeks in advance, but the wave wash technique is only the beginning. Off the coast of Western Australia, a far more brutal ambush is underway. The target is not a seal, it is a humpback whale calf. In migration season, whale mothers guide their newborns from warm tropical waters back toward productive feeding grounds. Orca know this. They memorize the migration routes, and organize ambushes at the precise points, where mothers must pass through shallow coastal channels. The tactic begins with separation. One group uses their massive bodies to block the mother, while the rest isolate the calf. They take turns leaping and pressing down on the calf's blowhole beneath the surface. They do not need to bite or tear, they only need to hold. Although the mother fights with desperate fury, and sometimes other adults join the battle, the odds are rarely in her favor. That is the most brutal moment in the ocean, when collective intelligence overwhelms the raw strength of one individual. But the intelligence of orca is only one chapter in the ocean's book. Off the coast of South Africa, a spectacle is unfolding on a different scale. The sardine dance, the sardine run. Billions of sardines migrate along the eastern coast of South Africa, riding cold upwellings, creating one of the most compressed feeding events on Earth. Cold water surging up from Cape Agulhas pushes the sardine shoals northward, and as they move, an army of predators assembles behind, above, and below. This is not a hunt. This is a symphony. Every predator plays a different instrument, and the sardine shoal is the score. First come common dolphins, pods numbering more than 10,000, moving like a disciplined army beneath the surface. Their echolocation system lets them see through turbid water. Each click bounces back, mapping a precise three-dimensional picture of the shoal ahead. The tactic begins. Dolphins release curtains of bubbles, while spinning in tight spirals at high speed, compressing the shoal from every side. Billions of sardines are forced into a single massive rotating sphere, the bait ball. The bait ball is a last resort defensive structure when there is nowhere left to flee, but a bait ball is not salvation. It is a death sentence written in instinct. The dolphins do not charge recklessly. Each dolphin approaches the bait ball, takes exactly one sardine, withdraws, then returns to formation. Absolute discipline. Because if any predator becomes too greedy, the structure collapses and the shoal scatters, making every hunter's effort wasted. This is the paradox of the sardine run. The predators must restrain their own instincts to keep the food supply intact. But the dolphin's precise restraint is about to be shattered. A dark shadow rises from the deep. Thresher shark, a species whose tail fin accounts for nearly half its total body length. That tail is the weapon. Not the teeth, not the jaws, but a tail like a bullwhip, driven by one of the ocean's most explosive muscular systems. The dramatic moment arrives as the ocean erupts into white chaos. Bubbles, scales, blood, and spray fill the water column. But the final blow has not yet landed. From the darkness below, a colossal mass is rising slowly. A bride's whale, 14 meters long, weighing tens of tons, has been waiting through all of this. It allowed the dolphins and sharks to do the entire work of compressing the bait ball. Now that density has peaked, it moves. Bride's whale does not rush. It waits until the bait ball reaches maximum compression, until the sardines are packed so tightly there is no gap between them. It launches upward from the depths. One surge, with its mouth open wide as a cavern. Thousands of gallons of seawater and thousands of sardines are swallowed in a single breath. One strike, thousands of lives gone. The bait ball collapses completely. All that remains are sardine scales catching the light. The grizzly bear, apex predator of Alaska's summer food chain, needs 135,000 kilocalories a day to store enough fat for 8 months of winter. The wolf, the only land predator that divides roles within the pack, coordinating to bring down prey, 10 times its own body weight. The polar bear, 800 kilograms, a sense of smell 7 times sharper than a hunting dog, capable of detecting a carcass under 1 meter of snow from 32 kilometers away. Which of them will be overthrown, and by what? Alaska, the largest territory in North America. 1.7 million square kilometers, larger than all of Argentina. Here, winter lasts 8 months. Interior temperatures range from -15 to -50 degrees Celsius. Below the surface lies permafrost, hundreds of meters deep. It blocks water from draining down, creating an ecosystem found nowhere else on Earth. 35 species of predators share this land along invisible boundaries. But which one truly controls it? A 300-kilogram brown bear, a 6-kilogram eagle, a weight ratio of 50 to 1. The most dangerous species in Alaska is not the heaviest, it is the one with no other choice. And at these summer salmon falls, the creature with no choice is stepping forward. Alaska has 5 species of Pacific salmon. From July through October, all 5 run upstream, back to the rivers where they were born, an unbroken cycle of life and death. And every year, the Alaska grizzly bear waits for this. An adult Chinook salmon averages 4.5 kilograms, delivering 4,500 kilocalories per fish, most of it concentrated in belly fat and roe. The grizzly bear needs 135,000 kilocalories a day, from August through September, to build enough fat for winter. That is the target, 30 salmon a day without rest for 6 straight weeks at peak season. Position at the falls is not a matter of preference, it is a matter of survival. At the center of the falls, a skilled bear's catch success rate reaches 70%. At the edge position, that rate drops to 25 to 30%. That gap, compounded over 6 weeks, can determine whether a bear stores enough fat to survive 8 months without eating. "400 kilograms, 12 years old. This male has held the center position for 5 straight summers. Every encounter sends a message to the 50 individuals watching from all sides. The last time this alpha faced a serious challenge was 2 summers ago. Since then, no one has tried, until today. This female is Nora. Nora weighs 240 kilograms. She is nursing 2 6-month-old cubs. To sustain her milk supply for both cubs, she needs an additional 22,000 kilocalories a day, above her own baseline requirement. At the edge position with a 25% catch rate, she does not have the time or energy to reach that number. The center position makes it possible. Nora has no choice but to challenge the one who holds it. The alpha registers Nora entering his 10-meter zone, close enough to trigger his dominance reflex. The alpha opens wide, displaying his canines, a level 1 warning signal. Nora does not retreat. A half charge is the move calibrated for maximum psychological pressure without getting close enough to be countercharged. In those 2 seconds of silence, 5 years of reputation become a question. For the first time in 5 summers, the prime position at the Salmon Falls changes ownership, not through combat. Reputation does not only disappear in a single confrontation. Reputation disappears when every observer sees it disappear. When the top position destabilizes, every rank below it shifts within hours. The alpha retreats to the tree line, alone, not a failure of strength. But not every creature benefiting from the salmon season is a bear. There is a species accumulating enough to survive an 8-month winter on just 0.8 kilograms of body weight. The American mink, 0.8 to 1.6 kilograms, semi-aquatic, unable to compete directly with bears at any position on the Salmon Falls. So it operates on the outer radius, focusing on what bears leave behind. At peak salmon season, 60% of a mink's diet is salmon carcass. But mink do not just eat. Each day during peak season, an adult mink builds 15 to 20 food caches within 500 meters of its territory. These caches, give the mink enough energy reserves to last 3 weeks without hunting in midwinter. And when salmon season ends, coastal mink shift to crab, specifically molting Dungeness crab. A Dungeness crab that has shed its hard shell is extremely vulnerable for 48 hours. But the Dungeness crab has a superpower. It can regenerate lost limbs. A crab that loses a claw to a mink attack, if it survives, will regrow that claw completely within 12 to 18 months at the next molt. Mink predation pressure does not destroy the crab population. It removes the weakest individuals and gives stronger ones the chance to regenerate. At the peak of the bird migration season, the Chilkat River in southeast Alaska draws up to 4,000 bald eagles, the highest density ever recorded on Earth. An adult bald eagle, 2.4-meter wingspan, dive speed of 120 kilometers per hour, capable of carrying prey weighing 1.8 kilograms in sustained flight. But eagles do not only take fish from the water, they take from bears. Kleptoparasitism in Alaska bald eagles is documented at a rate 340% higher during salmon season than in any other time of year. But bears do not always serve the eagle. They cannot catch an eagle in the air. But an eagle's nest is another matter. A bald eagle nest in Alaska weighs 60 to 90 kilograms. After years of accumulated material, typically placed 12 to 20 meters up in a tree or on a cliff face. By late September, Alaska's river systems begin to change color. Not because of autumn, because the salmon are dying. Pacific salmon are semmelparous. They reproduce once in their lifetime, then surrender to the current. After spawning, the salmon's body breaks down from within. Cortisol spikes. The immune system collapses. Kidneys and liver shut down in sequence. The entire process takes 2 to 7 days, depending on the species. 1 kilogram of decomposing salmon delivers 0.5 grams of nitrogen to the surrounding environment. Across an entire river system, the average Alaska River transfers to the surrounding forest. 50 to 150 kilograms of marine-derived nitrogen per hectare per year. That figure is equivalent to the nitrogen fertilizer a farmer applies to average cropland in North America. Alaska forests along salmon rivers grow 30% taller than forests of the same type elsewhere and grow 3 times as fast. Salmon do not only feed the bears, salmon feed the entire forest surrounding the bears. When the autumn salmon die and the rivers fall silent, something else begins. The Western Arctic caribou herd, approximately 200,000 individuals, are migrating from their summer range in the Brooks Range. to their winter grounds in the lowlands of western Alaska. This is the largest land mammal migration in North America by individual count, with an annual round-trip distance of up to 4,800 kilometers. A female caribou can run 80 kilometers per hour over short distances. A newborn calf, less than 24 hours old, already runs fast enough to keep pace with the herd. But caribou do not migrate in random herds. They move along corridors held fixed across generations, and every predator in Alaska knows exactly where those corridors are. The Arctic fox, 3.5 kilograms. It does not shelter, it hunts. The Arctic fox's coat has 7 distinct density layers, from the thickest underfur to the outermost guard hairs, arranged to trap still air. Still air is the most effective insulation available. The Arctic fox's thermoneutral zone, the ambient temperature at which it burns no extra energy to maintain body heat, is -7 degrees Celsius. At -50 degrees Celsius, the fox burns additional energy to stay warm, but with its 7-layer coat, that extra expenditure is only 15% of total daily energy, not enough to stop it hunting. In its feet, a countercurrent heat exchange system. Arterial and venous blood vessels in the paws interweave, transferring heat from blood back toward the heart, before cold blood reaches the extremities. The result is that a fox's paws maintain 1 degree Celsius, even when in contact with -35 degree snow, just enough to prevent frostbite, just enough to keep moving. The Arctic fox hears a lemming moving, beneath 30 centimeters of snow, detecting vibrations transmitted through the snowpack. The success rate of this technique is 85% when wind blows from the north or northeast, for reasons not yet fully understood. In summer, each fox stores 100 to 130 prey items in caches hidden beneath the snow. That is enough stored food to last through winter. An adult male snowy owl has a 1.6-meter wingspan and weighs 2.3 kilograms, the heaviest owl species in North America. What makes it lethal is total silence. The snowy owl's flight feathers have a specialized microstructure, a comb and fringe edge instead of the straight edges found in most birds, creating laminar rather than turbulent airflow. Its wing beats are silent. When a snowy owl approaches prey at 40 kilometers per hour, the target hears nothing until the talons make contact. The snowy owl's facial disc works like a parabolic sound reflector, focusing environmental sound into its ears. Its 2 ears are asymmetrical. The right ear sits 3 centimeters higher than the left, creating a time difference in sound arrival from each side, to pinpoint the exact height of a sound source. Every individual in a pack can recognize the voice of every other member through acoustic recognition built from birth. Each Alaska wolf pack controls a territory, ranging from 750 to 2,000 square kilometers. And this is the only land species that can force a bear to abandon a meal. This strategy requires no strength advantage over the bear. It requires persistence. Alaska wolves are the apex of the terrestrial food chain. No species regularly challenges a full wolf pack. Almost none. Because there is a 9-kilogram creature that cannot move fast, has no fangs, cannot climb trees, that has stopped wolves in their tracks. Not once, every single time. And that is the next story. An Alaska wolf pack of 6 to 8 individuals needs 3 to 5 kilograms of meat per wolf per day during peak activity season. Total pack requirement, 25 to 40 kilograms of meat per day. Simply put, the entire edible portion of one adult ungulate. One adult caribou yields 80 to 100 kilograms of edible meat, enough for the pack for 3 to 4 days. A 900-kilogram bison provides about 450 kilograms of meat, enough for the pack for nearly 2 weeks, but only in winter when temperatures are low enough to keep the meat from spoiling quickly. This is why wolves do not pursue every opportunity. They select carefully based on energy in to energy expenditure ratio. Attacking a healthy caribou within the herd costs 25 to 35% of the pack's energy, with only an 18% success rate. Attacking a weakened individual at the edge has a 64% success rate, with 60% less energy expenditure. Interior Alaska. The moose is heavier, its legs proportionally shorter, sinking deeper than the wolves. And this winter, the pack achieved something rarer, bringing down a 900-kilogram bison. This is the pack's winter. Nothing stops them, almost. On the southeastern Alaska coast, this wolf pack has repeatedly approached sea otters resting on shore rocks. The prey disappears into an environment the wolves cannot enter. Unlike the large prey wolves are built for, it is small prey that exhausts them most. A North American porcupine. This porcupine weighs 1/88 of the wolf watching it. Ghost is a lone male. As the snow begins to thaw, hunger brings him to a small, slow prey animal he rarely encounters. He tries again from the side, trying to cut off the retreat to the tree. The 30,000 quills of the North American porcupine are coated in hard keratin and lined with thousands of microscale backward-facing barbs at the tip. When they penetrate soft tissue, those barbs expand with each movement of the victim, pulling the quill deeper into the tissue rather than out. Porcupine quills cannot be pulled out in reverse. They can only be driven deeper. No meal is worth dying for. Alaska's apex predator has just backed away from a porcupine. If even wolves that have challenged bears, that have brought down bison, have limits, what truly decides who rules? Not size. A smaller female proved that. Not numbers. Wolves have numbers and still stepped back. There is one more confrontation. Wrangell St. Elias, Southeast Alaska. Dall sheep solved the survival equation by redefining the battlefield. Dall sheep survive not because they are stronger than their predators, but because they moved into terrain where predators cannot operate effectively. When you cannot win on your opponent's battlefield, change the battlefield. The Alaska red fox is not strong enough to bring down any prey larger than 2 kilograms. It uses Earth's magnetic field as a rangefinder, correlating the sound of prey moving under snow with the relative position of the magnetic field to estimate distance before striking. No need to see the prey. Just know the magnetic field angle and align to it. Alaska is not the land of the strongest. Alaska is the land of the most equipped. Whether that tool is your body, the terrain, or Earth's magnetic field. At Round Island in southwestern Alaska, the largest recorded gathering of Pacific walrus, 30,000 individuals on a 1.2-kilometer stretch of rock. An adult male walrus weighs 1,200 kilograms with tusks 90 centimeters long. But numbers are the real weapon here. A lone polar bear approaches the walrus colony. 30,000 pairs of eyes register it immediately. 30,000 sets of tusks turn toward the approaching threat. Polar bears do not attack into the middle of a walrus colony because within the mass, no individual is isolated enough to be taken without triggering the group response. The walrus is not the strongest animal on this rock, but they are numerous enough to change the equation for every predator that approaches. Walrus solve the problem with numbers. The polar bear must solve a different problem, alone, with 27 tons of whale and a female approaching from the north. Arctic Alaska coastline, October, sea ice is beginning to form offshore. Daytime temperature, minus 18 degrees Celsius. Nighttime, minus 30 degrees Celsius. The carcass of a 27-ton humpback whale washed ashore 4 days ago. This is a rare event, but when it occurs, it draws every polar bear within 30 kilometers. A 27-ton whale delivers nearly 4 million kilocalories, enough for a 300-kilogram polar bear to survive 5 to 7 months without eating again. The polar bear's sense of smell is 7 times sharper than a hunting dog's. It can detect a carcass from 32 kilometers away and through 1 meter of snow. With 4 million kilocalories at stake, this male sees no reason to share. Almost nothing on this Arctic coastline can force him to. Aurora arrives from the north, 150 kilograms. Her cubs are 6 months old, not yet skilled enough to hunt independently. This winter, Aurora is their only source of calories. The male needs the whale because he is hungry. Aurora needs the whale because her cubs will die if she does not eat enough in the next 3 weeks. The male decides to be patient, waits, eats what remains after the female and her cubs have finished. But this picture is changing. Arctic sea ice is losing an average of 13% of its area per decade since 1979. Alaska polar bears hunt seals primarily from sea ice, standing beside breathing holes and waiting for seals to surface. As ice area shrinks, the effective hunting window each year shrinks with it. Only competition density increases. When resources contract, the hierarchy, already unstable, becomes even more fluid. 3 species, 3 seasons. But this story does not end here, because on Alaska's coastline, a species that nearly went extinct is proving that this principle also works in reverse. The female eats systematically, fat first. Every kilogram of whale blubber provides 9,000 kilocalories, 2.5 times more efficient than lean muscle. In the first 3 years of life, polar bear cubs learn all hunting techniques entirely through observing their mother. They watch, they encode, and when the moment comes, they execute. She did not win with fangs or claws. She won by being in the right position at the right time, with a reason she could not walk away from. And today, her cubs watched every step. There is a story on Alaska's coast, not about a confrontation, but about a near-total disappearance, and a return no one believed was possible. Sea otters once ranged from northern Japan, around the North Pacific, to the California coast. Population estimated at 150,000 to 300,000 individuals before the 18th century. In 1741, Russian fur trading expeditions discovered their pelts, the densest fur in the mammalian world. 150,000 hairs per square centimeter, waterproof, market value in the 18th and 19th centuries, higher than any other fur. Triggering the Great Pacific Fur Rush that lasted 160 years. By 1911, the entire remaining sea otter population on the planet was estimated at 1,000 to 2,000 individuals, a fraction of the peak population that had once ranged 12,000 kilometers of coastline. The North Pacific Fur Seal Convention of 1911, signed by the United States, Great Britain on behalf of Canada, Japan, and Russia, halted sea otter hunting entirely. Today, the Alaska sea otter population is estimated at over 90,000 individuals, an increase of 45 to 90 times in 113 years. This is one of the fastest marine mammal population recoveries ever documented in conservation history. But population recovery is not the most important thing about sea otters. The most important thing is what happened to Alaska's coastline when they disappeared and what happened when they came back. Sea otters eat sea urchins, the species that grazes on kelp holdfasts. Without sea otters, sea urchins proliferate unchecked. Decades of urchin barrens have been documented along Alaska's coastline. And in California, where sea urchin density rose to levels that stripped entire kelp forests within just a few seasons. Kelp forests vanished, taking hundreds of fish, crab, and marine species that depended on them for spawning grounds and shelter. When sea otters returned, sea urchins were brought under control within the first 2 to 3 years. Kelp forests recovered, and the entire marine ecosystem followed. Kelp forests absorb CO2 from the ocean faster than tropical rainforests per unit of area. Each hectare of recovering kelp forest absorbs a quantity of carbon that would not exist without sea otters. Sea otters are not just a species, they are a keystone species, the one whose removal causes the entire ecosystem to collapse. Alaska's sea otters are the most thoroughly documented example in ecological literature. Rank is never permanent, and what almost vanished completely sometimes becomes what cannot be spared. Alaska is not only where the strong survive, it is where the irreplaceable fight to endure. Alaska does not reward the largest. Alaska rewards whoever reads the moment correctly. And what happened in this film is not an exception to Alaska's rules. This is Alaska's rules. A 400-kilogram male grizzly yields position to a 240-kilogram female, a weight ratio of 0.6 to 1. A wolf pack brings down a 900-kilogram bison, then steps back from a 9-kilogram porcupine. An 800-kilogram male polar bear, a 5-to-1 weight advantage over a 150-kilogram female, yields a 27-ton whale carcass. She had no option to back down. Alaska is where circumstances shift faster than rank. The last frontier is not only a name, because it was the last land left untouched. It is the last place on Earth where the question, who is strongest, still has a different answer every day, every season, every confrontation, and the answer is never the same twice. Wild Alaska does not pause. Every season a new challenge, every challenge a new balance. Nora has claimed her position at the Salmon Falls. She will hold it until her cubs are old enough to no longer need her protection, and then someone will challenge her. Ghost and the pack walked away from the porcupine. The next day, they brought down a 180-kilogram caribou, 5 kilometers to the east. Aurora finished eating first, and when she and her cubs stepped back, the male moved in for what remained of the 27-ton whale. Alaska tells us that those with enough reason, enough timing, and enough will to hold their ground survive. If this changed the way you see the natural world, subscribe. Every week, we find the moments where the rules get rewritten in the wild world. Now, shift to Africa, where the giants also fight every single day to survive. Across the vast savanna, there is a creature whose equation for survival is decided by a weapon more powerful than muscle or numbers, and that weapon is intelligence passed down across generations. Beneath the ancient baobab trees standing like thousand-year monuments, a herd of African elephants moves steadily across a parched expanse of dry grassland. They are not only the largest land animals still living, they are the great architects of the ecosystem, digging wells in times of drought, knocking down trees to clear paths for new growth, and engineering habitats that hundreds of other species depend on. Leading the herd is the matriarch, the oldest and wisest female, carrying 6 decades of survival experience. Possessing the largest brain in the land animal world at 11 pounds, with 257 billion neurons, more than 3 times the neurons of a human brain, the matriarch is a living library. Water source maps from 20 years ago, ancient migration routes, engraved and transmitted across 3 generations entirely through memory. What forces lions to recalculate every attack equation is the matriarch's extraordinary capacity for sound discrimination. She can distinguish with precision between the roar of a male lion and a female lion. A 2011 study confirmed that herds react far more strongly and alertly to the roar of a male lion because males are larger and pose a direct threat to calves. Matriarchs over 60 years old assess threat levels with absolute precision compared to younger individuals operating a flawless early warning system. Lions actively avoid direct confrontation, but at the peak of a drought, everyone is forced to converge at shared waterholes. And when hunger crosses the threshold of tolerance, the lion pride will risk targeting a calf that has strayed from the herd. The herd's response to the lion's intentions is immediate. They form a tight defensive circle, all adults facing outward, lowering their tusks toward the attackers, while the calves are completely sheltered at the center. Against that massive, impenetrable wall, the lion pride immediately hesitates and is forced to retreat. The bloodthirsty hunting drive of the savannah's king is completely neutralized by family cohesion, a bond forged. Across 22 months of gestation and 60 years of survival memory, elephants are among the few species to pass the mirror self-recognition test in 2006, meaning they know themselves, know the position of their herd, and can distinguish which threat is most dangerous. The mother elephant remains on high alert for a long time after the lion pride has withdrawn, because elephant memory is designed never to forget. Before a 60-year-old matriarch, the holder of the savannah's throne is merely a threat, already catalogued long ago in her magnificent brain. The Great Migration is an extraordinary journey of 2 million lives moving together. Within that unstoppable living river, the lion pride faces its most complex puzzle: how to isolate a single target from millions of individuals. When the great rains sweep across the Serengeti, cracked plains transform rapidly into lush green grasslands within just a few weeks. From the south, a river of life begins to flow, led by the vanguard species, the zebra, in numbers ranging from 200,000 to 300,000 individuals. This rippling black and white corridor moves and clears the way, cropping the tall, tough grass that wildebeest cannot reach, exposing the soft, nutritious new growth beneath. This is a perfect mutualism. Zebra open the road, wildebeest harvest the result. But zebras themselves carry within them a highly advanced defensive weapon, written directly on their coat. This is the dazzle effect. When thousands of zebras surge forward together, black and white stripes in constant overlapping motion overwhelm the predator's visual processing system. A lion's eyes cannot lock onto a fixed target inside a churning sea of shifting stripes.
Uganda, the primate capital of the planet, with more than 20 species on an area the size of a mid-sized American state. 40 million years of evolution have piled up in one place. Zuka, a 54-kilogram male olive baboon, is about to do what no one has ever seen. And Tamu, a lioness, has just found the edge that all but guarantees her the win. Queen Elizabeth National Park stretches 1,978 square square kilometers along Uganda's western border. But size is not what makes this place unusual. Nowhere else in Africa do four distinct ecosystems meet within a single boundary. Predators from each ecosystem push into the next. Prey must read danger signals from many directions, and many kinds of threat at once. The pressure in Queen Elizabeth National Park runs higher than anywhere else in Uganda, and it produces extraordinary adaptations. The Uganda kob, the antelope native to this country, and built a refined collective defense. But the predators found the blind spot. At Ishasha, in the south of Queen Elizabeth National Park, a lion pride has rewritten the survival equation for every species within their range. This is the world Zuka has to live in. The spot Tamu chose is not a comfortable one for a lion. The candelabra tree carries toxic sap and a spined trunk, but its branches are strong enough to hold a lion's solid body, and it grows at a height where the prey's warning system stops working. At 5 meters up, the predator's scent is carried off by the wind. The cob herd below the tree is completely blind. Luckily, other sharp senses let the cob react in time. As for the lion, this new hunting method may not be for them. The olive baboon has one of the most complex alarm call systems. In the primate order, each predator triggers a distinct response. An eagle, a leopard. But tree-climbing lions are not in that catalogue. The Ishasha pride has worked this advantage for a long time. Some troops have started changing their protocol. They move in sync, in numbers large enough to break the ambush advantage of a predator overhead. Even so, this only cuts the losses. It does not reverse the equation. Most of the troop watches to avoid. Zuka watched, and he understands the lions of this land. Tamu is no anonymous lion, and Zuka will push that learning further. The goal is to flip the situation. Queen Elizabeth National Park is the crossroads of every direction of danger. But Uganda is more than this one national park. Across less than 400 kilometers, running west to east, Uganda holds more primate species than any country on the African continent. more than 20 species, from the mountain gorilla to nocturnal primates, most people have never heard of, have settled at a single geographic point. Windy impenetrable forest is the first direction. 310 square kilometers of forest in southwestern Uganda hold more than 459 mountain gorillas, roughly half the entire population of the species on the planet. Bwindi is dense enough, steep enough, and remote enough that no commercial hunter can reach it. Mountain gorillas share more than 98% of their DNA with humans. This animal shows social cognition, once thought to be uniquely human, such as individual recognition or social power structures. Built on the history of relationships between individuals, a silverback eats more than 30 kilograms of plants a day, a female more than 18. To meet that demand without stripping any one area bare, the silverback keeps a mental map of the environment updated constantly, by season, by the state of the plants, and by the makeup of the group moving with him. Gorillas climb trees for fruit, up to 30 meters high, when ground sources run out with the season. This is the same vertical axis the Ishasha lions exploit, but in the exact opposite direction. The lion climbs up to attack down. The gorilla climbs up to find more. The vertical axis in Uganda is not just geography, it is a survival script that every large species must answer in its own way. In Kibale Forest, about 200 kilometers northeast of Bwindi, evolution found a completely different answer. The chimpanzee bets on the social network. The Kibale chimpanzee population has grown from 3,300 inches, 1,997, to more than 5,000 today. This is one of the few recorded cases of a recovering primate population this century. That recovery came from reduced hunting pressure and habitat restored year by year. Kibale is a rare conservation signal, a population that is rising rather than shrinking. Male chimpanzees have been recorded adopting and caring for unrelated young, a behavior extremely rare among animals. But within a chimpanzee's long-term social network, caring for an individual outside the bloodline is an investment in social standing. The chimpanzee does not act on feeling alone, but on complex social calculation. Chimpanzees organize hunts by assigned roles, including individuals who block the escape, who chase, and who ambush. That group coordination has been studied for decades and keeps producing new evidence of the species' collective planning. The gorilla bets on size, the chimpanzee bets on the network. The olive baboon bets on flexibility. The olive baboon is the most widely ranging primate in Africa. From semi-arid savanna to secondary forest, from coastal lowlands to highlands at 4,000 meters, olive baboon troops of 20 to more than 200 run on a social hierarchy that every member has to track and navigate daily. At Queen Elizabeth National Park, the troop faces at once three kinds of predator pressure from three completely different directions, including the leopard, which hunts at night and uses trees for cover, the lion, which hunts by day and uses height as its attack edge, and the crowned eagle, which strikes from the air with enough grip force to seriously injure a small primate. No direction is completely safe. The olive baboon has built an alarm call system that tells predators apart by specific sound, like a bark for the eagle, different from a grunt for a leopard or lion on the ground. Each signal triggers a group response, tuned to the right kind of threat. That system is refined and has been confirmed across many primatology studies. But it was built to handle the world, along the horizontal, along the ground. A lion in a tree is a character that does not exist in that dictionary. The candelabra euphorbia tree is nothing new to the olive baboons of Queen Elizabeth National Park. Baboons have been recorded climbing and working the branches of the candelabra euphorbia as a food source for generations. Accumulated knowledge of that tree was once a survival edge. When Tamu claims this tree as an attack vantage point, the baboons do not just lose a familiar food source. They lose a safe reference point in the survival map, coded over generations, and it turns into a source of danger the troops' reflexes have no fitting answer for. Uganda has more than 1,000 bird species, the highest density of bird diversity in Africa by area. The shoebill hunts the papyrus swamps of Uganda. Its strategy is absolute stillness. The African fish eagle at the Kazinga Channel works the vertical axis in the opposite direction. What makes the fish eagle effective is its map of the water, where prey gathers by season, where it gathers by the hour, where it gathers as temperature and current shift. The fish eagle and the shoebill both use patience, but through two completely different designs. The grey-crowned crane appears on Uganda's national flag and on the grasslands of Queen Elizabeth National Park every morning. The bird a nation chooses for its flag often reflects something about how that nation understands itself. Uganda chose the crowned crane because it lives in every kind of terrain. Uganda holds savanna, forest border, grassland, riverbank, and because it's calm in all conditions, is the image Ugandans want tied to their identity. The diversity of Uganda's primates is proof of the many different ways to adapt to nature. When the environment is pushed to its limit, where dry cliffs replace dense forest, and resources become scarce, the mantle baboon has raised the idea of alliance into the ultimate survival strategy. Assimilation. A dog's imprinting window lasts 6 weeks after birth. During that window, the puppy's brain is building its map of species recognition. After 6 weeks, that map closes for good. The baboon is not choosing at random. They know that window exists. Behaviorally, the puppy treats the baboon troop as its own social unit. Its brain learned this during the imprinting window. That social anchor, once it is set, cannot be erased later. In the language of primate behavior, grooming between two individuals is a signal of social alliance. This is a transaction. The dog's sense of smell beats the baboon's in low light and on terrain where scent carries before sound arrives. The sensory systems of both species combine into a danger detection network that reaches far beyond what either species has alone. The domestic dog, once potential prey for wild dogs, becomes an individual protected by a primate troop. The baboon actively creates the conditions for this relationship to exist by choosing the right partner, the right biological window, the right method of integration. Similar behavior has been recorded in many baboon and other primate populations across the continent. This is evidence of a level of social cognition, the ability to recognize a mutualism, opportunity, and act on it with calculation. The baboon does not just take part in the transaction. This primate seeks it out actively and accumulates those transactions systematically. The baboon has to assess each specific dog, each specific imprinting window, each specific context to decide whether that transaction is worth making. The alliance is not only between baboon and dog. Alliance is the operating principle of the entire wild survival system, and the baboon will apply that principle in the next step. The danger in Queen Elizabeth National Park does not fall. It changes species. The leopard is the only animal in this ecosystem that uses trees both ways, up to hide, down to attack, and works in light too low. For most prey to process visual information as fast as they do by day. The leopard's speed, the leopard's climbing ability, and the leopard's timing all at once create a set of advantages no prey species has a complete answer for. The lion and the leopard both use trees as an edge, but on two completely different logics. The lion uses the tree as a vantage point, climbing up to watch, climbing up to erase the chance of being caught by scent. The leopard uses the tree as a hide point, lying on a branch quiet enough that prey passes below without knowing. The lion attacks vertically from above. The leopard attacks horizontally from a hidden position. Two tree climbing strategies are two kinds of danger that cannot be solved by the same reflex. The olive baboon has alarm calls that tell leopard and lion apart. But an alarm call for a leopard at night requires the troop to detect the leopard first, and a leopard at night is fully optimized for not being seen before it attacks. An alarm call is only useful when there is enough information to set it off. At night, that gap is a dead gap. The olive baboon troop sleeps in tall trees. To cut contact with ground predators at night, the tree is tall enough that a leopard's climbing speed cannot reach them before the alarm goes off. Not a perfect solution, but enough to survive. To the next morning. Survival does not require perfection. It requires being good enough to get through one more night. Daylight gives the light back. Safety does not come back with it. The African crowned eagle specializes in attacking small primates and the young. The crowned eagle's grip force concentrates in talons strong enough to cause serious injury to a small primate in a single contact. This is a threat from the air that neither leopard nor lion can reproduce, and that no ground reflex can solve. The baboon's alarm call for an eagle pulls the troop down into low brush. The alarm call for a lion in a tree scatters the troop across the ground. Those two responses contradict each other. A predator smart enough will know how to exploit that contradiction. For prey at Queen Elizabeth National Park, every direction is a potential direction of danger. Within that four-way pressure system, no position is completely safe. Every decision to move, every sleeping spot, every foraging route is a trade-off between kinds of danger. That pressure does not only drive individual adaptation, it drives social adaptation between species. This is not a fixed environment. This is an environment complex enough to push species to seek solutions no single species could find alone. Uganda does not reward the strongest. It rewards the one that reads the environment most accurately. The gorilla reads the terrain and chooses the fortress. The chimpanzee reads the social structure and chooses the network. The baboon reads the mutualism opportunity and builds an alliance no one imagined. The shoebill reads the water by the hour. The fish eagle reads the vertical axis in the direction opposite the lion. And the pressure from four directions does not fall. It accumulates by the year, by the generation. There is one more thing Zuka has not tried. Zuka is about to try it. It will be the thing no scientist believed could happen before it happened. Not because it is beyond the baboon's physical ability, but because to do it, the baboon has to read a gap that the species' entire evolutionary system was never asked to find. A gap in the armor of the top of the food chain. Not a physical gap, not a speed gap. A gap in the schedule. The specific window when the strongest in the ecosystem is not present on the terrain. The baboon has learned over months of watching. That gap has always been there. It is only that no species was ever prepared enough to see it and bold enough, in the cognitive sense, to act. In the brief window it opens. The last light of day stretches the shadow of the candelabra across the grassland. In the next few minutes, everything will change. In the first 6 to 8 weeks of life, a lion cub does not follow the pride when the lioness goes to hunt. Not by chance. The male baboon has watched long enough to know the lioness is not there. The male baboon has gathered enough information about a gap in the absolute protection of a single mother. An adult lioness has every physical advantage to decide the outcome against a male olive baboon. Speed, strength, and size all lean toward the lion. In the tree, that equation reverses completely. The baboon is on home turf, with reflexes and a limb structure optimized for the 3 dimensions of the canopy. The lion cub is small, not heavy enough, not skilled enough at climbing, not strong enough to get itself out of that terrain. In the language of primate behavior, holding without killing is dominance. The baboon is controlling, the most valuable resource of its rival. Zuka controls the board. Both Zuka and Tamu's cub survived that day. The world goes on, as if it had known this all along. This is not defensive behavior in the ordinary sense. This is not territorial behavior. This is a calculated preemptive strategy, based on predicting another species' behavior, carried out on terrain chosen on purpose. This is evidence of situational intelligence, the ability to read a specific situation and act, a survival tool more effective than any other. And this is what Uganda gives to the species that live long enough to learn it. Zuka returns to the troop. There is no celebration. The troop keeps to the morning's foraging route, as if nothing had happened. Because, by the species' survival logic, nothing really did happen, except a decision. That led to an outcome, and life continues from that outcome. This is the most defining trait of real survival intelligence. There is no celebration. There is only the next step. Zuka sits on the outer edge of the troop, the spot with the longest view. That spot does not change. It does not mean nothing changed. The events of that morning were integrated into the store of behavioral data Zuka has built over months. That store took on one more point about the system's capability, one point about the rival's reaction, and one point about the gap in the armor of the one with superior size and strength. The olive baboon takes no notes. The olive baboon does not talk. But the olive baboon remembers, and that memory carries weight in every decision that follows. There is no crown to win in this ecosystem. Zuka proved one thing, that here, intelligence has real, measurable value. That value does not come from size or speed. It comes from reading the specific environment accurately enough to act in the right window of time, on the right terrain, with the right strategy. That is what Uganda prepared Zuka for across a lifetime, by setting a test that only intelligence can pass. Among Kibali's 13 diurnal primate species, and among Uganda's more than 20 primate species, no species is like another. No strategy is like another. But all are doing the same thing, surviving in the best way they can, with the tools evolution prepared for them, in an environment no one designed for them. The olive baboon troop at Queen Elizabeth National Park does not mark time by the year. Each day is a set of new decisions, including new foraging routes, new sleeping spots, reassessing the risk from predators, and new individuals moving through the territory. Accumulated knowledge is not stored in language or symbol. It is coded into behavior patterns, into reflexes tuned over many trials, into a body memory of the terrain and of the behavior of specific individuals in that environment. The young baboons in the troop are learning through observation, through following the older individuals, through testing each small behavior in a safe setting. This is how survival intelligence is passed on. When an older baboon dies, the troop loses more than one individual. It loses a living library of that environment, but that does not stop the troop from continuing to learn. Queen Elizabeth National Park wakes at dawn. Every species is doing the same first act of the day, connecting with its group. The gorilla silverback at Windy begins the day with grooming inside the group. Grooming is not a ritual. It is the maintenance protocol for the social network. In a group where every individual depends on every other to survive, keeping that thread of connection matters more than anything. That could be filled by food. A 220-kilogram silverback with muscle mass enough to change the outcome of nearly any physical conflict in the ecosystem begins the day with silence. This is peace. At Kibale, the young chimpanzees are playing. Every fall, every gentle wrestle, every climb and drop back down is a lesson. Empathy is not uniquely human. The male chimpanzee adopting a single-parent young proved that with specific observational data. The young chimpanzees playing together are learning it every day, from the body's reaction to touching another body, from the feel of the social thread, as it is made and as it breaks. The African fish eagle at the Kazinga Channel stands on its familiar spot, a waterside branch used long enough that the talon marks are pressed into the bark. The predator repeats, because that spot has been confirmed as optimal for the purpose of hunting. Tens of thousands of Uganda kob move across the grassland, north of Queen Elizabeth National Park along the same route. The herd has travelled for generations. The kob move together, ears up, eyes scanning, the sensory system running at a constant baseline. Tamu lies on the candelabra branch, an ordinary morning like any other. Tamu keeps nothing special from that morning. The order of the pride does not change. Life goes on. It does not mean Tamu lost. It means Tamu is doing exactly what evolution prepared her for. And what evolution prepared for Tamu is enough to survive in most situations. But most is not all. In the western lowlands of Uganda, female elephants move along a route, passed from mother to daughter over many generations. That route is knowledge learned and passed on, and confirmed on every journey. In the volcanic caves of Mount Elgon, the female elephants lead their herd into complete darkness. They come to lick mineral salt from the rock walls. This is a mineral need the grassland does not supply enough of. Mount Elgon is the oldest extinct volcano in East Africa, at least 24 million years old. Its caves formed from cooled lava, leaving mineral-rich walls the outside world does not have. The elephants found those caves and have remembered the way there across thousands of years. In the complete darkness of the ancient volcanic cave, the elephants move by memory, the memory of the body, the memory of the legs that know every ridge and dip of the rock, the memory of the trunk that knows the way in windless air. This world has no simple apex predator. Every species has one above and one below. And even the top of the food chain is prey to circumstance, to the environment, to the days when the cost equation leans the wrong way. A lion on a candelabra is the top of the food chain until a baboon understands the terrain better than the lion. The baboon is the most flexible until a crowned eagle comes in from an angle outside the alarm call dictionary. The elephant is the largest, but the elephant needs minerals and can only get them from caves. The elephant has to learn the way to over generations. The primate has learned to navigate all of that by reading it, to find a way through in each specific situation. And the world goes on. Even as it changes, the species living in it are adapting. The shoebills in the Murchison marshes are still hunting, every stretch of standing motionless, sometimes for hours, is a stretch of the nervous system processing information without pause. The movement of prey below the water tells the shoebill the fish activity by the hour. Stillness is a state of high-intensity information processing in a body that shows nothing on the outside. And everywhere in this ecosystem, relationships are being set, maintained, reassessed, and sometimes broken. Uganda is a network of continuous interaction, a system where each species is a node, and each behavior is a thread. And every day the system runs in a configuration slightly different from yesterday. The grey-crowned crane, Uganda's national bird, moves in pairs across the grassland, its gold crest catching the early light. Uganda is the fullest answer Africa has to the question, how much can one ecosystem hold at once? And the answer is more than we can count, more complex than we can model, and more important than we can realize until some of it begins to disappear. Thousands of snares are set each year in and around the buffer zone of Queen Elizabeth National Park. Ranger teams collect thousands of snares each year, but cannot keep pace with the rate they are set. Every snare collected is a gap closed by a human decision. That is both hope and responsibility. In 1980, the elephant population at Queen Elizabeth National Park was nearly wiped out. War and large-scale poaching drove the numbers down to a level many ecologists called the point of no return. The ecosystem cannot run right without elephants, and the elephants could not recover alone. Today, about 5,000 elephants live in Uganda. That population recovered thanks to a human decision to protect it and let nature do the rest. 40 years. A part of one human lifetime, enough time for a species near extinction to recover to ecological function. An ecosystem can recover. If humans let it recover, the baboon's enemy is not the lion. The baboon's enemy is a strand of snare wire. It is the cleared field. It is the new road cut across the territory. The troop has used for generations. Under the constant pressure bearing down on the environment and the animals, conservation decisions have to be made without pause. This is the greatest battle in Uganda. Humans are the variable that decides the outcome. Ecotourism in Uganda brings in revenue every year. About 80% of that revenue is tied directly to the protected areas, including the Bwindi forest with its gorillas. In 1981, the mountain gorilla population was estimated at 254 individuals left. Many conservationists called this the danger zone near extinction. Years later, that number passed 1,000 individuals, nearly 4 times as many. Not because gorillas suddenly bred faster, but because the pressure dropped enough for the species' natural growth rate to catch up. The human duty is to keep providing the space. There is no single formula for conservation success. Uganda had to develop its own model from its own specific conditions, including land and population, political history, geographic position, and the traits of specific species. In that specific environment, Uganda does not reward the strongest. Uganda rewards the one that learned to handle the unpredictable. The olive baboon proved this. Among Uganda's more than 20 primate species, no species is like another. The gorilla chooses strength and impenetrable terrain. The chimpanzee chooses the social network and group size. The olive baboon chooses flexibility and mutualism and situational intelligence. But all are doing the same thing, surviving in the best way they can, with the tools evolution prepared for them, in an environment no one designed for any species. And all those answers, from the simplest to the most complex, deserve to exist. This is the image that begins this story, and this is also the image that ends it. Tomorrow morning, Tamu will be on that branch again. The baboon troop will move through that area again, Uganda, where intelligence chose not to run. No one is born a legend. A legend is forged only in battle. Every scar Animals, keep watching at Win or Die. Full episode. Deadliest battles for survival or lion attack. The Mapogo battle for survival. We have just journeyed together through the rawest glimpses of the fierce struggle for survival in the Wild Kingdom. Which creature in today's episode forced you to see the untamed world in a whole new light? Was it the lion with its impressive takedown of the wild buffalo, or the green anaconda with its relentless circulatory arrest maneuver? Feel free to share your thoughts down in the comments section. Your deep understanding serves as a heartfelt tribute to these remarkable wild creatures. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to join me on upcoming field expeditions, where we will continue to crack the code of nature's most intriguing survival mysteries. And if you wish to explore even more about other wild animals, keep learning with Carnivorous versus Herbivores, Survival Challenge of Savannah, or African Savannah, Nature's Most Dangerous Predators.